Hello, good morning, O'Neill. I hope everyone's having a fabulous day today. And, I think it snowed. Did it snow? Oh my goodness, what a fun time to be on winter break and play in the snow. It's good. It's good. Oh, my hair is crazy today. Oh, well, it's winter break. So I'm hanging out in Miss Papa's room, and because I was talking to my own kids, and we're saying, there's not a whole lot to do right now. Can't really go a whole lot of places or anything like that. But you can do art. You can draw. You can paint. You can, have fun stuff with markers, whatever. And that also made me think about visualizing. And we've been talking about how novels don't have pictures and you need to visualize what you're reading about. So I shared with you the other day a little graphic organizer about visualizing. And so thinking about the details from the story and then being able to draw it out like art. All right. Well, here we go. We are in the last main section. We are on Friday pizza. And so let's go ahead and start reading. So we are on chapter 30, and the boys stayed home from school yesterday, to kind of recover from the horribleness of Dylan Samarine. And so we'll find out what happens next. All right, let's go ahead. All right, chapter 30, Joe. Do you want to ride to school this morning? Mom asks. She's dressed and already wearing her apron. There's a flash of lightning followed by a boom of thunder. Sure, I tell her, looking out the window at the dark sky. I'll take a ride. I tip my glass up and drink the last of the strawberry banana smoothie she made for breakfast. Ooh, that sounds yummy. No huevos rancheros, just a smoothie and 2 bowls of Cheerios, like normal. Dad comes into the kitchen. There's a piece of tissue stuck to his chin where he cut himself shaving. Does that ever happen with your dad's? The little piece right there. Did you tell him yet? He asks my mother. Tell me what? I ask nervously. I'm quitting my job, Mom says. You don't have to do that, I tell her, even though I hope it's true. It's a done deal, she says. I already gave my notice. Today will be my last day. Don't we need the money? I ask. I'll find something else, Mom says. To be honest, I'm not crazy about the job anyway. When I suggested to the kitchen staff that maybe we could change the menu a little, offer some healthier options like quinoa or tofu or something, they looked at me like I was crazy. This is my opinion of this. I think Joe is a tiny bit selfish in this area because, if they need the money, a job's a job, right? My mom was actually one of my lunch supervisors when I was growing up. I didn't like it so much either, but a job's a job. And I sucked it up and dealt with it. So I understand where Joe's coming from because it was kind of weird having my mom at school and at home, and I had no secrets because she knew everything that was going on. But my parents needed the money to pay for things. So I don't know. I think he's being a little selfish. Just my personal opinion. What do you think? Do you think he's being selfish, or how would you feel? I know, we have some people whose family work around this building too. How does that make you feel? I laugh. I'm happy to eat tofu and quinoa, but I'm even happier to eat chicken fingers and hamburgers. If my mother really isn't going to be the lunch monitor anymore, that means lunch can go back to being my favorite subject at school. Woohoo! There's another flash of lightning. Guess we're going to need our raincoats, Mom says. Game 1, 7 o'clock tonight, Dad reminds me. We're still on, right? Are you kidding, I say. Big Papi is going to bring it home for the Sox. You think I want to miss that? When I go upstairs to brush my teeth, I find Mia hiding under the bed. She's afraid of thunderstorms. Don't worry, Mommy, or Mimi, I tell her, reaching under the bed to give her head a pat. Joey, my mother calls, hurry up. The roads are going to be slick and I don't want to be late. I give Mia one more pat, grab my backpack, and run downstairs. All set, Mom. As she's handing me my raincoat, she's got hers on already. One sec, I tell her. I go into the kitchen, open the cupboard, and take out a small glass bowl, like the one my mother had put the chopped cilantro in the day before. What's that for? She asks as she watches me shove the bowl into my pocket. It's for an assignment, I tell her. I promise I'll bring it back. What's the assignment? She asks. I'll explain in the car. When I tell my mom what I'm doing for my personal reflection project, she starts to cry. This time, for a change, it's a happy kind of cry. You're one terrific kid, she says. Do you know that? Believe it or not, I feel like I kind of do. I'm in a pretty good mood by the time we get to school. It doesn't hurt that Friday is pizza day at Einstein, my favorite school lunch of all. As we turn in the driveway, out of nowhere, this dark red minivan comes speeding around the corner and almost cuts us off. Watch out, my mother cries, honking the horn. The driver of the minivan honks back and doesn't even slow down. She just zooms past all the cars waiting to drop kids off, then cuts in front of the line and parks sideways so nobody can get past. A dark-haired woman in a long blue dress jumps out holding the biggest umbrella I've ever seen in my life. It's really pouring now. As my mom and I run across the parking lot, jumping over puddles, the woman in the blue dress hurries around to the other side of the minivan and opens the sliding back door. A minute later, a little kid in a funny-looking red hat gets out. He's so small. At first, I think he's in first grade or something. But then he turns around and I see the way he pushes up his glasses with his thumb. I know right away who it is. Ravi. As my mother and I walk towards the front door together under our big umbrella, I notice Bigfoot crossing the street with a tall woman in a yellow coat. The wind blows her coat open and I recognize the apron she's wearing. She is one of the workers in the lunchroom, a person they call the lunch monitor. Could this be Bigfoot's mother? Suddenly, I remember the cartoon Parima had found in my backpack. I'm Stupid's mommy. The person who drew the cartoon is insulting Bigfoot's mother, just as he insulted mine. Are you listening? Asked Amma, pulling at the chin of my monkey cap to straighten it. I made curd rice for your lunch today. I know, Amma, you told me. Wait, let me finish. I made curd rice, but I checked the school menu. The option for today is pizza. It's vegetarian. So, she unties a knot at the end of her palu. Inside are 2 paper notes and 2 25-cent coins. I thought you might want to eat lunch at school today, like the others. I want to, 1, throw my arms around Amma and give her a big kiss. 2, tell her she's the best mother in the world. 3, show her the page in Bud, not Buddy, where Bud says he carries his mama around inside him all the time. But here's what I do instead. Thank Amma for the lunch money. 2, look around to make sure no one is watching. And 3, give her a quick hug. All moms like hugs. Amma, Pirima, and Paripa are waving to me as they drive away. I watch until the maroon Odyssey disappears over the hill and I can't see them anymore. Yesterday, I was feeling like a complete failure. But today, as I walk into Albert Einstein Elementary School, I feel like the luckiest boy in the world. Why do you think that? Why do you think Ravi feels like the luckiest boy in the world? I don't know. Let's find out. Chapter 32, Joe. Dylan Samarine jumps out of the black Mercedes 3 cars down the line. It has one of those vanity license plates that you have to pay extra for, and it says, "Envy me." Inside, I can see his mother looking in the mirror on the back of the sun visor as she puts on her lipstick. My mom only wears lipstick when she's going to a party. She looks better without it. During winter break, I don't wear any makeup, as you can see. The wind is blowing, and it's really pouring now. Everybody is honking their horns because Ravi's mom's minivan is blocking traffic. "Do you need your plugs?" my mom asks me. I shake my head. "I'm okay." "Pop the trunk, Mom," Dylan shouts, banging his fist on the roof of the black Mercedes. "Mom, are you deaf? I said pop the trunk." Oh, if my child talked to me like that, The trunk finally opens, and Dylan leans in and pulls out a big cardboard box. He wraps his arms around it and walks away without bothering to close the trunk. Mom and I look at each other, then run over and close the trunk. Miss Samarine doesn't say anything. She just flaps her visor back up and drives away. "Have I already told you that I think you're one terrific kid?" my mom says a minute later as she walks through the front door. She heads off to the cafeteria, and I start walking down the hall towards room 506. Ravi is walking in front of me. He has pulled off his weird red hat and is trying to comb his hair down flat with his fingers. It's not working too well. Dylan Samarine is standing by the door when we get there. "Morning, ladies," he says, flashing one of his evil crocodile grins. "Welcome back." We both ignore him. Ravi goes straight to his desk. I notice he's carrying a small package wrapped in the same kind of brown paper his math notebook was covered with. I put my hand in my pocket and I feel the little glass dish. It had seemed like such a good idea when I told my mom about it in the car, but now I'm not so sure. What if nobody gets it? "Before we begin, boys and girls," Miss Beam announces, "I'd like for you to place your personal reflection object on your desks and bring your explanation cards up here and put them in the basket." There's no turning back now. I hang up my raincoat and carry the glass dish over to my desk. Then I dig around in my backpack until I find the plastic bag containing my object. I had picked it based on its perfect shape and color. After examining it carefully to make sure I hadn't cracked or chipped on the way to school, I put it in the dish and take the index card with my sentence written on top of it up to Miss Beam. "I'm looking forward to seeing what you brought today, Joe," she says as I drop my card into the basket. Then she smiles at me. I don't know why, but there's something about that smile that gives me hope. Maybe Miss Beam will like the idea I came up with for my object. Maybe she'll realize that I'm not a pain in the neck who doesn't pay attention. Maybe she'll even write something nice about me on my report card at the end of the year, the way Mr. Barnes did. But apparently, none of those maybes are supposed to happen. At least not to me, because when I get back to my seat, the little glass dish is empty. Uh-oh. What do you think was in the dish? What happened to it? Where did it go? Let's keep reading. Chapter 33, Ravi. Dylan Samarine is standing near the door when I arrive in room 506. I ignore him as his crooked Shaki Kapoor teeth and take my seat. Place your personal reflection object on your desk and bring your explanation cards up here and put them in the basket, Miss Beam tells us. Before I can unwrap my packet, I first need to wipe off my glasses, which have become clouded up from the weather. Amma gets upset with me if I use anything other than the special wiping cloth Dr. Batra gave me to clean my glasses. So I open my backpack and pull out the cloth. Just as I'm about to remove my glasses, Dylan Samarine reaches around me and snatches something off Bigfoot's desk. He pops it into his mouth and quickly sits back down. But not before I have seen what he's taken. So Ravi knows what he took. Chapter 34, Joe. It's my fault. I should have known better than to leave anything out on my desk when there's a known kleptomaniac sitting 2 feet away. So much for impressing Miss Beam with my great idea. All I have left is an empty dish, which is exactly what I feel like in the moment. Ravi has left his package sitting unopened on his desk while he takes his card up and puts it on the basket. Luckily for him, Dylan is too busy unpacking his own box to notice. Miss Beam starts talking to Ravi about the Indian cookies his mom made for her, but I get distracted when I see what Dylan Samarine has brought. It's a big plastic yellow star with a picture of what else? Dylan's face glued to the center. Perfect. I watch as he rips open a pack of AA batteries and loads a bunch of them into the back of the star. When he's finished, he sets it on his desk, pushes the on button, and the whole thing lights up and starts playing Ghetto Superstar. Does anyone know how that goes? All right, I'll give you a little hint. It goes like, Ghetto Superstar, that is what you are, up above you, reaching for the stars, come away with me to another place, and we'll rely on each other, That's Ghetto Superstar. That's my singing for today. Sorry, Miss Chavez, you know I don't sing well. Lucy Mulligan and her little girlfriends come running over. Pretty soon, they're all dancing around Dylan while she sings along to the music. Oh, there it is. Ghetto Superstar, that is what you are, coming from afar, reaching for the stars. His singing is bad, but the girls don't care. I notice his boxers are decorated with yellow stars, and the top 3 buttons of his shirt are undone. Gross. I'm not sure, but I think he might have glitter on his chest. Take your seats, please, boys and girls, and we'll get started. Miss Beam tells us, I am in big, big trouble. All right, 35. Ravi, this is getting so good. Ravi, Miss Beam says as I drop my card into the basket. My heart is pounding. Have I done something wrong? Amma had offered to write my explanation on a card in her neat handwriting, but I insisted I do it myself. Can Miss Beam not read what I've written? After talking with Paripa last night, I had been so sure that this assignment would be a proud moment, not just for me, but for my whole family. Now, all of my other failures come flooding back like a giant wave. My accent, my math, my English, my manners. It's nice to see you, says Miss Beam. We missed you yesterday. You did? I ask. Don't sound so surprised, she laughs. I wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed the cookies your mother made. There's a spice in them that I'm not familiar with. Do you know what it is? I'm sorry, I say softly, bending my head down again. It's cumin. Don't apologize, she says. The cookies were delicious. It was all I could do to keep myself from eating the entire box. I was wondering, do you think your mother would be willing to share the recipe for me? What are they called again? Nankahatis, I say. Nankahatis, she says slowly. Her pronunciation is perfect. I think about what Miss Frost had told me about stepping on toes and about how assumptions are often wrong. Miss Beam, I say softly, my voice quivering a little. My name is not Ravi. It's pronounced Ravi. She looks at me and smiles. I never noticed before, but her eyes are the color of pistachios. I'm glad you told me, Ravi. Was that better? She asks. I nod my head and smile back at her. It means the sun, I say. As I walk back to my seat, my heart feels lighter. It seems things are finally looking up for me in America. But my gratitude is interrupted when I see Bigfoot sitting at his desk, staring into the empty bowl in front of him. He looks so sad. And I'm not selfish enough that I have forgotten about the insulting cartoon or what I saw Dylan Samarine take from the little glass dish on Bigfoot's desk. This is my chance to redeem myself for the unkind way I had treated Ramaswamy at Vida Madir, and for all the toes I have stepped on at Albert Einstein Elementary School as well. My chance to set things right. I reach into my desk and I feel around with my fingers until I find what I'm looking for. Then I put it in my pencil box for safekeeping until the moment is right. Wonder what this object is. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's find out. Chapter 36, Joe. We're going to play a little guessing game, Miss Beam explains. The goal is to match up the objects sitting on the desks with the sentences in the basket. Great. I've only been at school for 15 minutes and my day is already in the toilet. I look at the empty dish. No one is going to be able to match it with the sentence I wrote. Not in a million years. Ravi is busy unwrapping his package. I'm curious to see what's inside, so I lean to my left so I can watch him. The brown paper is held on with about 1 million pieces of Scotch tape. When he finally gets it off, there's another layer of newspaper underneath, and under that, a layer of tin foil and a lot more Scotch tape. Before we start, Miss Beam tells us, I'd like you to all quietly make your way around the room, familiarizing yourself with the objects on each of the desks. I will give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll begin our game. Miss Frost always says that the best place to start is at the beginning. So I go over to the first desk in the first row. Amy Yamaguchi brought a teddy bear, or at least I think that's what it is. It's a little hard to tell because it's gray and it doesn't have any stuffing left in it. Not only that, the face is completely worn off. Whatever it is, it's ancient, and it probably doesn't smell so good up close. Some of the other girls brought in stuffed animals too, or girly junk like charm bracelets and flavored chapstick. A lot of the boys picked video games or sports stuff, including Tim O'Toole, whose personal reflection object is his own front tooth. Everybody knows the story. He knocked out his tooth last winter sliding into the goalpost during a hockey game. Even though there was blood gushing out of his mouth, he still managed to score the winning goal, which is how his picture ended up in the front page of the Hamilton Herald, with a caption under it that says, "Plucky local kid just won't quit." I'm about to start walking down the next row of desks when I hear Lucy Mulligan scream. Miss Beam goes running over to see what's wrong, and pretty soon there's a big crowd of kids standing around Ravi's desk. This is one of those times when being taller than everybody else comes in handy, because I can see right over their heads. Ravi has finally finished unwrapping his package. Sitting on his desk is a glass filled with cruddy-looking water, and swimming around it, that cruddy-looking water, are 3 long, slimy, black leeches. I say as everyone leans closer to see what I have in my jar. Yesterday, Paripa and I took a walk together. Where are we going? I asked him. You'll see, he said. Ever since we moved to New Jersey, Paripa has been very quiet. He eats his meals without a word, then goes and sits on the sofa to chew his betel nuts and read his newspaper. But yesterday, as we walked together, he had a lot to say. What's this I hear about you wanting to quit school? He asks. Nobody likes me, I told him. They think I smell bad. It doesn't matter what they think. Quitting is not. an option. I know, I said. Appa told me. That's because I told your father the same thing when he was a boy. And someday, when you have children of your own, you will tell them too. Quitting is not an option. You don't understand, I said. Nobody does. For a while, he walked in silence. Do you know that in India, tea has to be plucked by hand, Ravi? My grandfather said finally. 3 leaves and a bud right from the very top of the tea bush. The tea pluckers pick the tender shoots and drop them into baskets that hang from their heads. When I was a young man, my first job was to work at the tea plantation. I had to stand in the rain and guard the workers, protecting them from wild animals that might be lurking nearby. What kind of wild animals? I asked, but my grandfather didn't answer. Instead, he took me by the hand. Oh no. And led me close. Where did I go? Took me by the hand and led me through the tall grass to the edge of the pond. Amma and Prima were always warning me not to go near. All right, we're going to have to stop right here because my battery is about to die. So we will continue chapter 37 and hopefully finish our book the next time we're reading. I can't wait to find out what happens with Robbie's jar and Joe's dish and if something is going to happen to Dylan's Emerine. All right. I hope you're waiting in anticipation too. And I hope you have a wonderful, amazing